laptops we are using Windows 10 or 8, like previous versions, Windows 7 or XP. Server operating systems are 2019-16. So old versions from NT 4.0, Microsoft released the first server. From there, different versions they are releasing. Now 2019 is the latest version. So this is what Windows everybody knows. That is the reason first we introduced Windows. So like Windows, we have another operating system is there, that is Unix or Linux. So Unix or Linux, both are same or both are different. So many students they can have the doubt. Both are same. So Linux is like a Unix kernel. So you can also call as Linux is a flavor of Unix. So Unix flavors are Solaris, IBM AX, HP Unix, Linux. But Linux is also a flavor of Unix, but Linux is a open source operating system. So open source means the source kernel is open. So anyone they can download the source kernel from internet. So you can add some features. You can release your own OS. I can add some features. I can release my own OS. Like that, in Linux we have different types of flavors. So the flavors of Linux is Red Hat Linux, Ubuntu Linux, CentOS, Fedora Linux, SUSE Linux, Debian Linux, Kali Linux. Like we have more than 100 to 150 flavors are there. So out of these flavors in production environment, we are going to use the Red Hat Linux. In some of the applications they will use, depending upon the compatibility, Ubuntu also they will use. So free OS and 2OS also some companies they will use. But to most of the production environment, Red Hat Linux, because it is distribution versions are there. So they will give the support and it is occupied the market. 70% of the market is occupied by Red Hat Linux operating system. So we are going to learn this Red Hat Linux operating system. But somebody they can have some doubt. If we learn Red Hat Linux, if you go for an interview, there is a Ubuntu Linux. That company, maybe that company is using Ubuntu Linux or Fedora Linux or SUSE Linux. Is it required to learn all the flavors? So no need, because structure is same, concept is same, theoretical part is same, but some of the administration commands are different. So structure is same, theoretical part is same. So only some of the administration commands will different. So no need to, if you learn any flavor of Unix or Linux, not only Linux flavors, if you learn any flavor of Unix or Linux, you can easily work on any other flavors, because Unix Linux architecture is same. So most of the commands are same. So the structure is same. Only some of the administration commands only difference. To get that new features and new differences, it will take 2 or 3 days time to get the new features. So now coming to Linux, why we are going to use why we are going to learn Linux, and why the companies they are using the Linux operating system. Because Windows is a graphical mode, anybody they can easily understand, easy to work on Windows servers. Why Linux servers? So Linux is a more secured operating system than Windows. So Linux is a more secured operating system than Windows, for whom we are providing security. So we are going to provide the security for the valuable crores of rupees databases. For example, you can take any bank like SBI or ICICI. So crores of customers are there. So the crores of customers data is nothing but a database. These crores of customers databases we are going to run securely on Linux server. So that is the reason the most of the applications, critical applications like SAP, IBM WebSphere web application, middleware applications, and Oracle databases, IBM DB2. So most of the critical web servers, web applications, most of the critical applications we are going to use on Linux servers. But why Windows servers they are using? Somebody they will ask the question. So in Windows there is a powerful concept is called, that is Active Directory Domain Services, centralization of administration. But in Linux also centralization of administration is there, but Linux supports only single domain. Windows supports forest level domains, tree domain structure it will support, and also the softwares which supports only Windows servers like Microsoft SharePoint, .NET, Microsoft Azure, Microsoft SQL Server, Microsoft C hash. Like we have different Microsoft products are there. So for using that products, some companies they are also going to use Windows servers. But most of the critical applications, databases, big data, Hadoop, like whatever the critical databases, critical applications, web applications, middleware applications, we are going to run securely on Linux operating system. Okay. Now we are discussing Linux is a more secure than Windows. Linux is a more secure than Windows. But how do you differentiate the security between Windows and Linux? Somebody, maybe your friend asked you a question. Why you are learning Linux? Linux is a more securely, you give the answer. He asked you, how do you know Linux is more secure than Windows? Then we have to know the structure of operating system. Now we are going to see the structure of Windows OS. The structure of Windows OS, then you can see the structure of Linux OS, then you can easily explain if anybody asks you a question. Now see here, so this is structure of Windows hardware, top of the hardware kernel, top of the kernel user applications. For example, you bought a laptop or desktop, that is hardware. Top of that you install Windows, that is nothing but OS, that is nothing but Windows kernel. Top of that we are working. Coming to the Linux or Unix operating system structure, hardware. So top of the hardware, Linux kernel or Unix kernels you are going to install. That is nothing but operating system. Top of the kernel, we have another security layer automatically by default will come. That is shell. So top of the shell, the user is going to be work. So here, what is the difference? The difference is shell. So shell is the security layer in Linux. Shell will not allow you to run any unknown commands. Shell will not allow you to run any unknown programs. That is the reason the valuable databases and applications we are going to run securely on Linux. If you come into the Windows, what user will tell, kernel will do. That is the reason viruses will attack on Windows operating system. Why viruses will attack? What the user will execute any program automatically, kernel will execute. But in Linux, whatever the program user executes, first shell will read that program. If it is known program or if it is known command, then only the instruction goes to kernel. Then kernel will give the output the shell. The shell will give output to the user. So this is the reason the databases we are going to run securely on Linux operating system. Now coming to OS level. So after installation, see by installing we have a shell. After installation, what happens in Windows? What happens after installation? You are going to create the files. How Windows operating system identify the files? So Windows operating system identify the files with extension names .exe executable, .dat database, .bat batch file, .mp3 media player file, .doc document file. Like that, Windows operating system identify the files. But how the Linux operating system identify the files? So Linux operating system identify the files with type. So type of file, mode of file. Mode means permissions. So mode means permissions. So by default, whenever you create a file, the permissions will apply. So which permissions will come? See, for example, Raja is a user. He logged into the system. He created one file. So by default, whenever Raja created a file, he is the owner of the file. So owner get to read write permissions. So Raja is a member of AWS group. In AWS, we have number of other members. Raja owner own group members. So Raja is a owner. He has read write permission. Raja is a member of AWS group. They are having only read permissions. Like AWS, we have DevOps group, managers, developers, database administrators, account department, like different groups are there. Those are called other group members. They are having which permission? Read only. For example, when we are working with Linux operating system, if you send a file to me, I am only having read permission. When we are working with Windows operating system, if you send a file to me, I am having read, write, modify, delete, whatever it may be, I can do. There is no file level permissions in Windows. There is a file level permissions in Linux. See, architecture level, we have shell is there. OS level, we have file permissions are there. So this much of security is available in Linux. That is the reason valuable databases and applications, critical applications, we are going to run on Linux operating system. So these things initially, once you understand, then whenever you are working on real times, then you can easily understand what is Windows servers, what are Linux servers, what is shell, what are the different types of permissions in Linux. You are going to easily identify while you are working on real time environments. Now come into uh, see, Linux is more, say, already we discussed. So if you want to learn cloud computing, AWS, if you want to go for DevOps development operations, if you want to go for Oracle databases, so if you want to go for Hadoop, if you want to go for IBM web applications, we must have strong knowledge on Linux administration. So without having Linux administration, so your resume will not weighted. So first, whenever you are putting your resume, first you have to put I am having the Linux administration skills. Then I am working in the AWS project. Then I am working in the DevOps project. Without knowing the Linux, how you are working, they will ask the questions. 100% I am telling you, without Linux administration skills, you cannot get on real-time scenarios. So this is 100% compulsory. So somebody they can have interest on shell scripting, Python, PHP, Perl, Ruby. For this also, you can have the compulsory knowledge on Linux administration. See, somebody they will tell basics is enough. Basics is not enough. So by experience, I am telling 15 plus of years experience. I am telling you, some institutes they will tell basics is enough. No need to go for a compulsory administration is important. Whatever the administration parts we are going to do, we are going to learn. Just I will explain now. The topics which we are going to install, learn Linux administration. First, we are going to see the basics of Linux. So these basics are free. Who joined for Linux administration? We are going to provide these basics of Linux at free of cost. So who enrolled, who joined administration, basics are free. First 3 to 4 days, we are going to learn the basics of Linux. And also, somebody they will ask the question, what is the file system layout in Windows? What is the file system layout in Linux? I am going to explain in depth in our classes. The file system layout is in Windows is drive concept, like in Windows C drive, D drive, E drive. So Linux file system is root file system structure. Under slash we have the different types of subdirectories. We are going to tomorrow's class we are going to discuss about this. And now what we are going to discuss in our Linux administration. So first, basics of Linux. So after installation of Linux, if you want to create the files, if you want to create the directories, copying the files, copying the directories, removing the files, removing the directories, and um, deleting the files, deleting the directory. See, Windows, you can see easily. So right click, delete. Simply you can delete. So which file you want to delete, right click, delete. And Linux folder, right click, delete. But while you are working with Linux, we are going to with command prompt only. How to create the files, how to copy the files, how to rename the files, how to move the files from one location to another location, like in Windows. Cut to paste. How to do in Linux? Linux is a command prompt. So how to do? So all these things we are going to discuss in our Linux basics classes, like simple filter commands, like in Windows. Whenever you want to search a particular information, how you are going to say search in Windows? So how you are going to search? So here we can go for like this. Here you are giving the search, whatever the information you want to search, you are searching here. But in Linux, how to search the files and directories? So how to search the most recently modified files? How to search the files with per, like that? Different types of basic commands we are going to discuss in our basics classes of Linux. After basics completed, we are going to start standalone administration. Remember this point, standalone administration. So 80% of the interview questions in Linux servers, they will ask standalone administration part only. So sometimes some students, they can get the job in first 5 chapters only. So like this, they will ask the questions on installation of Linux, what is disk management, what booting process, run levels, group management. They will tell you are selected. So this much of importance is there for standalone administration. Standalone means single server. So see here, installation of first part, standalone administration, first chapter, installation of Linux operating system. So what is the operating system directory in Windows? If anybody asks you a question, what we are going to tell? The operating system directory in Windows is, go to my computer, C drive. So here operating system, Windows folders, users folders, program files, everything located under C drive. C is corrupted, means operating system is corrupted. Like in Linux, what is the operating system directory? They will ask the question. The operating system directory is slash. Slash means root. Root is the main directory in Linux. Under root only, we have different types of subdirectories. So here, see everything under root file system structure. Tomorrow we are going to discuss. Under root only, we have different types of subdirectories. Root is corrupted. My entire data will go. But I want to save my third-party software. How to save? Tomorrow we are going to discuss. Now, first chapter, installation of Linux, structure of Linux root file system, we are going to explain. Then we are going to see the installation of Linux operating system. Then, after installation of Linux, you joined as a Linux administrator. Linux server is going on. One database administrator wants to create some partition to install the database. So they will call to you. I need 500 GB space. I want to install database. So they don't know the Linux administration tasks. So they have database tasks. So as a Linux administrator, you are going to create a new partition on the disk by using the 500 GB. Then you have to provide to available to that database administrator. How to create new partitions in Linux, we are going to discuss here. For example, you can see in Windows how to create new partition. I will show you. Go to my computer, click on manage. See, comparison between Windows and Linux, you can easily understand. Everybody not compare. Directly they will teach Linux, but I am comparing. So go to disk management. Here see, you can have partitions. If I have a free space, here I can right click, I can create another partition. This is very simple. Just right click, create new partition, format it, and you can save the data. But Linux, how to create the new partition? They will ask the question, how to create the new partition and how to format the partition. We are going to discuss in disk man. This is very important chapter. Most of the questions they will ask from disk management, how to manage the disks, because why we are using the Linux, the crores of valuable databases we are going to run securely on Linux operating system. Where the database stores on the disks. So disk management is very important. So I will show you some example here. So it is booting. I will show you. Then we are going to next chapter. Boot process of Linux operating system. So when this is the compulsory question in interview, when you power on the system, how the Linux operating system will boot, in how many phases it will boot, they will ask the question. For example, your laptop is there. Every day you are powering on your laptop, you are logging to your Windows, you are working. So what happens background? Nobody knows. You are just powering on, login screen is coming, you are giving your username and password, you are logging, you are working. Meanwhile, from power on the system to getting the booting process, what is going on, we have to explain in Linux. The booting process of Linux operating system, like different run levels in Linux. Like in Windows, we have different modes are there. Safe mode with networking, safe mode with command prompt. Like that in Linux, the same concept is different run levels. So what are the different type of run levels? How to write and run our own programs? We are going to discuss in this class. Next to group management. Everybody knows when you go for a company, we have a Java group, AWS group, managers group, how to create groups, how to manage the groups, how to assign the group passwords. So in Windows, we cannot assign group password. In Linux, we can assign the group passwords. So how to assign these group passwords, we are going to discuss in this class. So next to user management. This is very important chapter, again in standalone. How to create the users, how to modify the users, how to delete the users, what is the password management of users, how to assign the home directories of user. Uh, for example, in Windows, go to my computer, go to C drive. All the users home directories are located in this folder, users folder. So whatever the users you created in your system, all the names will come here. In Linux, where it is created, they will ask the question in interview. Where the default home directory of users in Linux? But I want to give the Oracle home directory for Oracle users, Java home directory for Java users, Hadoop home directory separately for Hadoop users. How to give? What are the commands? So we are going to discuss user management. Next to user quotas. So for example, you can take our Gmail account quota is 15 GB, means that is the limitation. So when you reach about 15 GB, we have to delete our old mails, any junk mails we have to delete, otherwise you cannot get the new mail. Like that in Linux, when you are working on servers, as a Linux administrator, you have to control the users to use unlimited space of the disk. So unnecessarily some users, they can copy their own data like that. So as a Linux administrator, you can control the users, you can limit it depending upon the work of the user. You can limit it, you can use only 500 MB, you can use only 1 GB. So we are going to configure quotas, user quotas. Next to swap management. So this is nothing but a memory management. Like in Windows, we are calling as a virtual memory. So what is virtual memory means? Physical memory means RAM. So every system has a RAM, 4 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. So virtual memory is some of the disk space the system will use as a memory. It is called virtual memory. So Windows automatically choose virtual memory. See, while you are installing Windows, it will not ask you give virtual memory. So if you put 500 GB disk while installing Windows, it will not show you total 500 GB. It will show you only 48,500 MB something. Remaining space automatically it will use for virtual memory. But in Linux, as a Linux administrator, while installing the Linux operating system, you have to select the virtual memory. That virtual memory is nothing but a swap memory in Linux. When the virtual memory is low, when the swap memory is low, as a Linux administrator, you have to monitor your swap memory. Whenever it is going to be low, automatically the system performance, application performance, database performance will decrease. Then we have to increase the swap memory. So interview they will ask the question, how to increase the swap memory in Linux? In how many ways you can increase the swap memory in Linux? How to see the swap partitions in Linux? How to see the complete memory in Linux? What are the commands we are going to discuss in this class? Next, process management. So every operating system has a process. When you power on the system, by default background number of processes will run. So if you want to see in Windows, right click, go to task manager, see the these are the background process, these are the front end process. Google Chrome is running, go to meeting, notepad is running, PC settings, photos, task manager, workstation is running. How much CPU utilization going on, how much memory utilization is going on, how much disk utilization going on, how much network percentage going on, everything it will display. So this is monitoring. This is graphical mode, you can easily identify. But in Linux, how to manage the processes in Linux? How to see the number of process which are background, which are front ground, how to kill the process, unnecessary process, how to increase the priority of process. So everything we have a commands here. So in Linux, each and everything, whatever it may. Now, just now we seen in Windows processes, right click task manager. But in Linux, we have commands. See, any Windows operating system, Linux operating system, concepts are same. Windows Server administration theory is same, Linux server theory is same, but that is a graphical mode. This is a command line mode. Some features only difference. Now see, this is process management. Next to RPM, Red Hat Package Manager. So installing the operating system is nothing but a collection of software programs. Those are nothing but a packages. So by default, when we are installing the OS, only minimal packages will be installed. After installation of OS, depending upon your requirement. So if you want to configure FTP server, so you have to check the package, you have to install. If you want to install the database, they will give the list of the packages. These are the packages are required to install database. First, as a Linux administrator, we have to check. Package is not installed, we have to install. So from where we are going to install? From DVD. DVD, that package is not there. Connected to Red Hat side, download the package, install. So like that. That package administration, this is also a daily tasks. Next, yellow dog updated modified is there. Like in Windows, software update service is there. Online package manager. So Windows, you can see if you take your internet connection, pop-up will come. There is a new version came. Do you want to install or later? Like that. Automatically, it will update your system. Like in Linux, we have to set up a server is called Online Package Manager server. RPM is offline. You have to download and install online. Install package name automatically connect internet. It will install. That setup. How we are going to do the setup? We are going to discuss here. Next, logical volume manager is a concept combining the physical disks as a single logical device. For example, the maximum size of the available disk in market is 2 terabyte only up to now. But your database administrator wants to install, my database is a large database, I need 6 terabyte single partition. Is it possible? Not possible. Maximum how much we can create? 2 terabyte only, because the disk only 2 terabyte highest disk size. So what you have to do? You have to buy 3 2 terabyte hard disks. You have to combine them. Then you can get 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6 terabyte space will come. Then you can install a database on that server. How standard partitions is, it is not possible. By taking the help of logical volume manager packages, we can combine multiple physical disks as a single logical device. That is called the LVM concept in Linux. So then whenever the 6 terabyte space is full, you can expand, you can add the more disks, you can expand your storage limit. So that is the concept LVM. Next, backup and restore. Generally, every day we are going to take backups in your company. First question they will ask in interview, which backup tools are using in your company? For example, Windows, what is the backup tool? Nobody knows. Daily we are working with Windows 10 only, Windows 8 only. Backup tools are there in Windows. Nobody knows what is backup tool because we are not learning administration. But while you are going to learn administration, you have to learn all these things. So by default, Linux has a backup tools like tar, dd, dump, restore. In Windows old versions, we have a NT backup tool is there. Now latest versions, we have a Win backup tool is there. By using that backup tool, generally we are going to take backups. Apart from this, some companies they will use third-party backup tools like Veritas Net Backup, IBM Tivoli Storage Manager, HP Storage Backups. Like different backup tools are also there. But traditional backup tools, they will ask the question. That is the reason we are going to learn how to take the backup of files and directories, how to take the backup of file systems, how to copy the data from one disk to another disk. We are going to discuss. And whenever my data is corrupted, how to restore. Here we are going to discuss. Next, scheduling jobs. So this is also a daily tasks in Linux. So every day it's a task we have to write on servers. So every day evening 6:30 p.m. updated Oracle files backup take. Every Sunday morning full backup we have to take. Every Saturday evening the users who logged into server what they are doing I want to know. Like that daily tasks we have to write one jobs list. You have to put in one file automatically in that particular point of time it will run the tasks. So these are the standalone administration. See, up to now, from here, these 14 chapters, there is a single word of networking. You can see network. There is no single word of network. So 80% of the interview questions they will ask from the standalone administration only. So sometimes already I told you, sometimes maybe you can select from the first three chapters only, depending upon interviewer mood. So disk management, they ask you 5 questions. You given the correct answer. What is the booting process of Linux? We explained properly. What are the different run levels in Linux? We explained properly. How to manage the groups, how to assign the passwords to group, where the group passwords information, like that. Some questions they asked you given proper answers. So then immediately they will tell you you selected. Sometimes they can go for the all questions. So that is the reason you have to ready to answer any question from any chapter. Maybe randomly they will ask some questions from swap management, some question from disk management, some question from M server. If you give the proper answer, you can easily select. So practice is main important in Linux. Practice makes Linux administrator perfect. So like see, already just I told you, Windows you can see graphical mode, C drive, D drive, E drive, but you Linux you cannot see like that. So in Linux we have a commands. What is the command df-h if I give, I can know what is the partitions here. Root already I explained you. Slash is the main operating system directory. This is OS, like C drive in Windows. This is slash boot, bootable files are located. Slash home, default home directory of Linux users. This is I created Oracle Oracle partition I created. See, these are the partitions. Oracle I created, Hadoop I created. This is DVD drive. Like in Windows, my computer, if you open, you can see this type of information. And how to see the available disks in Linux? We have a command fdisk-l. See how many disks are there here? Only one disk. The disk name is SDA. In this disk, SDA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 partitions I created. Like this, we can create 64 partitions in Linux. Windows, graphical mode, C2Z, you can see. Linux, 64 partitions in one disk. Like this process in already I showed you top command, Linux. In Windows, task manager. See what are the processes are running, total process 70, 175, how many running, one running, 173 are sleeping. So which process is utilizing CPU percentage, memory percentage. Windows we use task manager. Same here commands, there is a graphical mode. Nothing is difference, but we have to remember the commands. So now is there anybody asking the questions? Please ask me one by one. Any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
Kumar K. Do you have any question? Rahul Reddy Koya. So tomorrow we have another session is there, just networking part. So what are the servers we are going to learn in Linux? Then structure of Linux root file system tomorrow we are going to discuss. So total course duration is 1 month. First 3 to 4 days we are going to discuss about the basics of Linux operating system. Then installation of Linux, basic commands, then the standalone administration and the network administration. Total course duration is 1 month. So every day, whatever the class we completed, that video uploaded to your Gmail link. Okay, do you have any questions? Please ask me.
Yeah, one question I'm having. This is Sridhar.
Yeah,
On what extent you'll be covering shell scripting as part of this course?
shell scripting is not a part of that. Is specially how to learn.
Oh, okay, okay.
This is purely administration with basic commands. Just shell scripting, you have to learn 2 to 3 days time. It will take. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
And you mentioned some networking, right? I mean, what extent you will cover the networking? What exactly you'll be covering in that?
Just I will show you here networking. Now only I will explain. No problem. See, configuration of Linux operating system in the network. So how to assign the IP address to Linux? How to assign the host name to the Linux? How to permanent the IP address? How to permanent the Linux? How to permanent the IP address? How to permanent the host name? And in interview, they will ask the questions like this: what is the command to assign the host name to Linux? What is the command to assign the IP address to Linux? What is the file to permanent them? So files we are going to write in files.
Okay.
How to configure the default gateway to the Linux operating system? What are the files? For example, I am showing you. Another 10 minutes I will take, no problem. See, for example, I want to see the host name. What is your host name? Command is host name. Server 10. What is your IP address? I want to know ifconfig. This is my IP address 192.168.0.t. So how to check your permanent host name? etc sysconfig. Like they will ask the questions like this: what is the file? We have to explain. The file is etc sysconfig network.
Okay.
So here you have to write what is the file to permanent the IP address. They will ask the question. So what is the file means that is the big file va/etc sysconfig network hyphen scripts. The path they will ask what is file name ifcfg hyphen eth0. This is the file. Here you can write the IP address. See, IP addr equal to, you can write the IP address. Like
Okay.
this type of questions. And how to see the default gateway of Linux operating system? Netstat hyphen r. So no gateway. How to assign the gateway? They will ask the question. Root add
Okay.
default, like this default GW 192.168.0.180. For example, they will give the IDs. They will give. Now check the added or not. See, gateway is added. How to permanent it? They will ask the question.
Okay.
See, they will ask the command and how to permanent is. What is the file to permanent the gateway? Like how to configure the telnet server. From Windows, I want to log into Linux. What you have to do? They will ask the question. Configure telnet server. Now nowadays telnet is not using. What we have to do? Go for SSH. But Windows will not support SSH. What we have to do? Download the putty software. Now give the Linux server IP address. For example, now 192.168.0.8. Enter. See, I am logging to my server now. What I opened. So I am logging to my Linux server. So just now we logged in. Same. Check the host name. Just now we checked server 10. Check the IP address. I config like this. Real times we are going to work like this.
I have one question. Can you show me? Hello.
Yeah, tell me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Where
hear
did
me.
you configure? Where did you configure from this one? We have to change in the VM, right? Something to connect to the Windows to Linux. In the
Yeah,
VM,
in
VM
VM,
workstation, where?
right click. You have to go to settings. Here network adapter. You have to put the NAT. You have to select NATing.
NATing.
Okay, NATing. So and Windows also you can go to Windows system. You can go to change adapter options. So go to the Ethernet. Give an IP address here. Whatever you given the range of 192.168.0 series. So 8 I given here 120 I given. Same network. Then they will connect. So if you don't want to use your own IP addresses, then you can go for automatically your VM software will assign the IP addresses to Linux also. That
But
time
I have
you
a
have to
question.
select.
Bridge, you can use the bridge, then you can directly it will connect, right?
Yeah, that is only I am explaining you. So I am using a separate network for my Linux and Windows. So if you want to use default network, then you can select bridged. That time, whatever the IP range is given by your VMware, you have to use that IP addresses.
Whatever
See here.
VM.
See, I selected. See, edit virtual network editor. I selected my own network here. 192.160.0. Series. I selected. See, I selected my own series because conflicting my internet Windows and my VM DHCP IP addresses are conflicting. That is the reason what I did. I created my own network here. So what is the series 192.168.0.0? So if you want to use VM series, see, DHCP is enabled here. Here DHCP is disabled here. Then you can use this series for every Linux operating system and Windows also. Then they will connect with bridged. Okay. So if you want to manage separate, you can select your own network here. You can give your range of IP
But
addresses.
I use for enable the network driver bridge adapter, right? It's fine. Oracle VM, right?
Yeah, Oracle, you have to enable it.
Just we have to enable, right? In that option, it is not there in.
Yeah, not there. You have to enable it.
Bridge adapter, right?
Okay, like this. Yeah, right.
Other than nothing, we have to use, right?
Nothing you can automatically. So SSH and SCP, FTP server configurations, NFS server. Yeah, this is file server. NFS is also file server. Samba is a file server. So sharing the resources. So yeah, tell me, Mr. Hello.
Yeah, Srinivas, hello.
Yeah.
Shall I go with the next question?
Yeah, yeah.
I have a question. Yeah, Srinivas, currently I'm working as a project manager and nowhere related with the Linux admins or any of these admin parts. But as part of upskilling, we have a DevOps training plan for the next couple of months. So before that, as you said, like I would like to have this Linux admin to have some knowledge on this. But until what extent I need to be familiar to learn the DevOps? I mean, so that I can be so that I can be comfortable in while learning DevOps.
See, standalone admission up to standalone
Because if you
administration.
see, it's something like a pure kind of all topics are related to the person who is going to pursue the job for a Linux admin or to upgrade in the admin part. But just to have knowledge, I mean, just to get more comfortable with the DevOps before I go and learn the DevOps. So what are the topics that I need to be more familiar with this Linux admin part?
So this is entire standalone administration is important. So everything will come because memory management will package management. You have to install the packages. Okay, most of the standalone part it is must. We backup and restore some commands. And on networking purpose, you can use this one SSH and FTP. This part up to these parts are important for you. Samba server, DNS, Apache web server. This is also Apache also you have to, because website hosting some tools will come out hosting the websites.
Okay.
To some parts. So here SSH is one important one. FTP for downloading, uploading, how to upload the files. Then if you want to learn Apache, DNS name services also you have to learn. Compulsory. These are compulsory knowledges.
Okay. Fine. So every day it is from 5 to 6, or do you have any other timings planned?
So what they given time 6 to 7 or 5 to 6?
5 to 6 is what we got the link
6
today.
to 7. 6 to 7. Yeah, we got 6 to 6 to 7.
6 to 7 every day. This is the time.
Srinivas, I have one question.
Yeah.
Suppose I want to learn
I'm sorry,
only
6
for
to 7. Yeah.
Sorry.
Just I want to learn the new shell script only. So do you have any dedicated courses there for that?
Durga Soft, you can contact to Durga Soft people. We have a shell scripting faculties there.
So it is there, shell script faculty.
Yeah, yes.
So it is dedicated for shell scripting, correct?
Yeah, shell script, yeah, dedicated person is there.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you.
So if he
Yeah.
Hello?
miss the class, Srinivas, like how would you be covering that? You will be uploading the video on that day, or
Sorry, sir.
you will be providing the relevant. No. If we miss a class by chance,
So every day,
if I skip a class or if I couldn't attend,
yeah, every day video record will come.
so how would you cover that? Okay.
Whatever the today, just now we discussed one topic. We will send a video to you. So if you have any doubt, next class you can ask the question. Yesterday video I did not understand this part. Can you explain? I will explain that part.
Okay.
Srini, final
It will
question
be
from my
accessible in our Google Drive, is it?
Up to 6 months you can accessible.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Yes, Sridhar, Mr. Sridhar, can you? Sridhar, do you have any question?
Sorry. Yeah. Basically, since we are attending online classes, right, and we will be getting any support. I will support in the sense if we got stuck up with something, we can call you up and we can get clarified those things, or only in the class hours we have to call you.
I will support, because so I will send a mail to you. Generally, we cannot share the number, but I will ask them, because somebody while practicing error will come, they will stop. So I can create a WhatsApp group. Then whenever your error came, you can snapshot that. You can. Then I will provide the answering. Okay. I will talk to them. I will give you that.
Okay.
Thank you. Tomorrow we will connect by 6 o'clock. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Apart from videos, are you also providing any material, soft copy?
Soft copy means my Linux notes is not with mine also, because while seeing videos, generally you can write the commands. For example, what I am explaining, to create a new partition, you have to take notes, because I don't have. Meanwhile, I will make it my notes, because since 15 to 20 years I don't have my notes.
Okay.
Just I am teaching and they are writing their notes. Okay. If it is, I will provide the 350 real-time interview questions and answers.
Okay.
That material I will provide, and Linux PDF home network, complete Linux PDF, each and every commands are there. Those things I will provide, not a problem.
Okay. Yeah, fine. No problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Tomorrow evening we will meet at 6 o'clock.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all.